Hey everybody, Invisiblekatana here. Finally catching up on all the DC fandom stuff. It's been a crazy week. Yesterday I had like the most insane sinus headache because of just the weather and my body is stupid. Whole day, terrible headache. I could not film a single thing. Like it physically hurt to move. So instead of doing it Saturday or yesterday like I planned, I'm doing it all Saturday and I don't even know if I'm going to finish all the videos I want to do today because I had a bunch more than just my DC stuff. But to kick things off, had to start with Batman because, of course, we got our first actual look at the new Batman, the Batman. This guy right here seems to be more akin to what we're getting in the movie because this guy kills people. This guy, old school comics, Batman killed people. And based on what we saw in that trailer, he might not kill anybody, but Batman punches people, vengeance beats them until they're unconscious and scares everyone else. And I was like, well, okay, I guess that's what the movie's gonna be like. So I'm excited. It looks good. I was never really that concerned. I know, of course, Robert Pattinson, he was stuck in the Twilight thing for a super long time. But I wasn't that concerned. I was like, okay, seems weird. I hadn't seen his other stuff. I knew he did more serious things. So I still just didn't really know him as well as an actor. I knew he had done stuff that was good though, so I wasn't concerned. Like a lot of people were just flipping out because it was like people didn't even know he did anything else outside of Twilight. So I wasn't as concerned as other people. But I was like, okay, let's see what happens. And he seems like he's doing fine in it. Granted, it was still just a trailer, but it looks good. I like what we got so far. We didn't get to see all the characters, but we got to see Batman. We got to see Catwoman. We got to see Penguin, who is played by Colin Farrell. Couldn't even tell that was him. Didn't even realize it was even Penguin when I first saw the trailer. He's apparently in it like 3 separate times. So we get to see Penguin. I think technically they show like a glimpse of the Riddler. I don't believe they show the actual person. But I'm excited that it's Riddler. That's super cool. I think a lot of people like me are excited because it's one of the characters where it's like, man, when the Riddler's done well, the Riddler is amazing. So I'm excited to see how that plays out. I'm curious how they're going to build up the other characters because it's going to be the first movie. So we have, they're already introducing, Catwoman. So they have the relationship there. We have the Riddler coming in as, our big bad villain. And then we have Penguin coming in as well. And I don't know if they're going to, I would assume they're going to defeat Riddler. And I would assume they defeat Penguin as well, but with them having both, they could easily do a build-up where it's like, okay, they have Riddler, he's taken on in the first movie, he could easily come back, because if we're going based off of the comic books, nothing ever happens to anybody that Batman beats, because they all just go to Arkham, so it's fine, they all get out anyway. It's just like, give me a few months, I'll be back on the streets. So, Riddler could easily get taken out. Penguin could come in the second film as like the big bad villain, or maybe he could team up with someone else, and so he'll be like the lead-in for another villain. A lot of people talked about the guys who have the makeup on, like maybe that's teasing Joker, maybe something else. The first thing I thought, oddly enough, just because it was like pure white, the first thing I actually thought of was the character Anarchy. And I was like, that would be interesting if, that was kind of how that ends up playing out. So maybe not. Anarchy doesn't get a ton of play either, but I think Anarchy would be a pretty cool villain as well. But I like the trailer. I thought it was really cool. Obviously, the main moment in the whole trailer is him punching that dude, and it's like, okay, counter, classic Batman counter is like, boom, all right, broke his arm, that sucks for him, knock him to the ground. It's like, all right, Batman, and then he walks over to him, and it's like, oh, Batman, and he just punches him so many times, and it's like, okay, so this movie is basically going to be like the movie version of the Arkham games, where it's like, all right, let me just kick this dude really hard in the head, and he goes ragdoll. Like, for those of you who haven't played the Arkham games, that was a big joke in there, because you can kick people sometimes, and basically you punch them, and when the characters are defeated, they go into what's called a ragdoll, is where they just go limp. So you kick people, and it's because it's a video game, they make it real cinematic. Sometimes you kick people in slow motion, they just go like poof, and they fly in the air. But a lot of times when they get hit so hard, their bodies crunch in like dead spiders, and then you just punch them in the face, and they just go poof, and they just curl up, and it's like, that looks so painful. And I'm pretty sure we killed him, but we just punched him like right in the temple. I think he's dead though, because that's what happened in this movie. And I'm like, he may have killed that guy. Or brain damage, something could have happened there. So we'll see what happens. That might be the only time, because it was like that big show of force moment. That could be early on in the movie as well. So that was kind of why he took that first dude down so hard, where it was like, he could have been literally Batman's first example. And it's like, I got to do it right. And I was like, sorry, it's you. And then he just beats the crap out of him. And it's like, I'm vengeance. He doesn't go with the I'm Batman, which is super cool, because it's him starting out, so it's not I'm Batman and stuff like that. It's just I'm vengeance. Vengeance is so close to revenge, it's scarier than just saying I'm Batman. So I liked it. I thought it was a cool idea. I'm excited to see more of the movie, of course. I want to see more of the Batmobile because we got to see a little bit of it. I want to see it like in the Batcave, just the giant lights on it and everything, because it looks like a sweet muscle car. So I want to see every little trick that they have, because I'm sure even with it being the first version of the Batmobile, there's already some stuff in it. I mean, they have like the glowing engine. He's gonna have the jet boost. That's pretty much automatic, so that's cool. Is he gonna have, grapple hook shoot out the front, maybe shoot out the back, some oil, who knows what he's gonna have, some crazy oil slick type stuff, just early Batman ideas where it's like, well, let's try this one out. So I'm looking forward to it. Thought the trailer was fun. I can't wait to see more of him in the Batsuit, more of Gotham as a whole, because I am really curious how things are going to play out. Gordon is in this, but I don't think he's commissioner just yet. So I like that idea. I also like the fact that Batman is working with the cops a lot, and he goes right in the crime scene and they're just like, all right, here it is. It's a Batman year one type situation, but they're even friendlier to him. And I like that concept because it could either go, that's what this universe is kind of like, Batman works with the cops a little bit more, or it's the start of it and something crazy happens, like he might screw up and they blame him for the death of someone else. It could kind of be like the Christopher Nolan films, where he takes that blame on himself, but instead of it being, kind of like Dark Knight, 2 and 3, where he basically retires after that moment, this could just be like, I gotta fight through it because I didn't kill that guy, or whatever happened. Batman is the one that everybody likes to blame, but he's like, I still have to be Batman. Things are just beginning. So it'll be interesting to see how that storyline plays out, because I would love to see it if he is cooler with the cops. That would be pretty awesome. So it'll just be interesting because it's a Batman year one type situation. It could continue that way, or things could get way worse, and it's just like, all right, they have that bigger split, but obviously, Gordon is still with them. So it'll be cool to see how that ultimately plays out. But all in all, trailer looked pretty nice. I'm excited for more action, more characters. I want to see how this stuff is going to work with the Riddler. I hope the Riddler's done well. That's all I can say, because I really love the Riddler. I like Gotham. I know a lot of people are kind of iffy on that show. Riddler done fantastically well in that series. It was like probably my favorite Riddler, actually, out of everything that I've seen. Probably my favorite Riddler was actually from Gotham. So I hope he's somewhere in that. He can't do all that because of course that was a show that was on for like 5 straight years. So that's that's totally different than like just the one movie. But I hope somewhere in that realm where it's like, okay, we see the dichotomy of his character, where it's like, he has this funny stuff, but he's got that crazy twisted mind, which I think we see considering he duct taped someone's face. I'm sure they were dead before that, but he still decides to duct tape their face. So that should be cool. I think some people reference the Court of Owls might be in this. That would be interesting. I don't think, with them having Riddler and Penguin and Catwoman, I don't think that they would make the Court of Owls like a big thing. I think we're going to see owls all over the effing place, and they're going to build up to it, but I don't think they're going to be like the main villain. I think they're going to let that kind of be its thing, and then whenever the next movie comes out, especially with the Gotham Knights game coming out, because that's going to have the Court of Owls in it. So I think they're doing a lot of like Court of Owls stuff in other mediums, finally, outside of the comics and the animated movies. They're like, all right, we're going to let the game have it first. We'll build up our thing. We'll do the classic villains that people know, and then they're going to jump to Court of Owls. And I think that could be, that should be its own movie realistically. So we'll see how it all plays out. But I think that'll be a lot of teasing, but we won't see too much Court of Owls stuff in this first movie. But those are my thoughts on the trailer. I thought it was good. Lots of other trailers to talk about, lots of other news and games and all that stuff. So I will be doing all those videos right after this one. I'll be switching shirts throughout for my different characters, at least the ones I have shirts for. But I would love to know your thoughts. Even though, we've had a couple days now to kind of calm down from all the insane announcements that we've gotten, all the cool trailers. Knock my freaking phone over. So I would love to know your thoughts on the trailer. What else do you want to see, as far as like a second trailer? What other characters do you kind of want to see introduced, or at least hinted at? How would you like to see things built up? Like, just based on how this is, it definitely seems like it's more in the grittier side of things and less the comic book side. So the odd thing with kind of how the DC EU has been at this point, I would say it's more comic booky. As dark as it is, it's way more comic booky than we've had before. When you really think about it, like all the Superman stuff, and they're destroying cities and this and that. They do way more comic book stuff in the more recent movies, even though they're supposed to be way darker. Like the Dark Knight trilogy, way more serious. Like far less comic book movie, just like really cool superhero stuff. It just didn't really feel comic booky. And then the DCEU movies, super comic booky. And then this feels more like the Dark Knight stuff. But we have to kind of see how it plays out. So I would love to know your thoughts on it. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.